Good evening. This is a review on episode 4, Bubba Wallace, the race, the inner voice. Let's get into it right now. The episode starts up with all the complaints, the concerns, the comments, the corrections with the car messing up in Martinsville, which he didn't place first. Again, shows a lot of frustration with the crew. And they're basically just talking about it, brainstorming what they could do right, what they could do wrong next time. Also, after that, talks about Bubba Wallace going through depression, going through a lot of emotional problems with racing because it's a tough sport for him. He has a lot of pressure on himself, and he's just dealing with a lot mentally. With that, his parents were divorced, which also affected him as well. Him and his father, Bubba Wallace and his father had a great connection. They had a great chemistry together, and let's just say things weren't the same for him and his father as it was for him and his mother. His mother is very close, and they just kind of been distant through the years. So his parents being divorced kind of affected him as well, which didn't make the depression better for him. The next race, I believe, was in Talladega. Yes, it was in Talladega. The good news is he placed in the first stage win for him in the first stage race, which was pretty good, which is moving in the right direction. And then things got a little dark. To talk about the whole new situation being put in his locker room or in this area at Talladega, which was kind of wild. They talked about what happened that day, what went on. Let's just say emotions were high. People saying that was it a hate crime? Was it not a hate crime? Did Bubba Wallace staged himself? It was just a lot going on. It was really messy. And then it showed talked about how black athletes, how they were activists, and how they would stand up against racial injustice and then fighting for equality. Talked about Muhammad Ali, Colin Kaepernick, and we'll get to that Danilo situation after this slide. And all those guys paved the way for a lot of people today on how they sacrificed instead of for what was right. And they talked about more of the Danilo situation in the NFL, went deeper into that, how Colin Kaepernick risked his career for doing the right thing, which I thought that was pretty heroic of Colin Kaepernick. And this is also a very touching moment when they found the news in Bubba Wallace's locker room or area in 2020. All the other racers and team, everybody just pretty much marched behind him and just said that they were with Bubba Wallace through a hard time, and it was very touching moment. Like I said, he got the stage win in Talladega, which was pretty cool. But yeah, a lot going on in episode 4, and we'll get to episode 5 in just a moment.